6 years in total. And then gradually got to a point where I thought I need something else. Done sales for almost a decade, and then I thought, what can I do? Found my way into an SDR role. Worked an SDR role for about 1.5 years, then progressed up to a junior sales role. So essentially an account executive, so opening and closing my own deals. Then progressed up to a senior sales role, so able to do site visits, handling my own teams meetings, things like that. Then I actually left and worked for a different company because I'd been in telecoms for a while. I switched up my industry. When I worked for a tech startup company, unfortunately it was back when the kind of recession was kicking in with the tech side of things, where Google made their cutbacks, Twitter and etc. So yeah, got headhunted by a recruiter back for telecoms. Found my way to the City of London. Went in as a junior sales for 3 months, then got approached to do the management role. So with me, obviously, I've always naturally wanted to help people because I've been in that position where you guys are eventually going to be. So naturally, you want to help each other to progress, and I think that's what got noticed from the management team. They asked if I wanted to kind of apply for the SDR manager. So the way I manage, I'm very much the way I put myself as. If any of you guys know a bit about football, I'm not on the sideline. I'm on the pitch. I'm on the field with you guys. Imagine me as the captain on the pitch. So I like to often make calls with the guys. I'll do round sessions in here, 3 or 4, small group, just to prove, it can be done. So the beauty of being an SDR and climbing the ranks, I know essentially what it takes to be a successful SDR all the way up to the top. So yeah, that's a bit about me. Anyone got any questions?
All good.
Yes, from me, how does it compare managing to being an SDR? Like, what advice would you give these guys if they're interviewing with you, for example?
Interviewing with me, be yourself, really. I think a lot of people, when they come in for an interview, typically they try to paint a picture of them being maybe something they're not. All right, I understand you've got to try and sell yourself, right? But a lot of the times, people, any employer, they invest in the person. So if they find that you're going to be the right fit for the culture of the company, or we can see you've got good ethics, good work background, things like that, then yeah, I think that's just be yourself, really. Don't say you're gonna be number one salesperson in the first month if you're really new to sales, and that might not be the case, right? So yeah, be very realistic.
You got promoted pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
How did you make that adjustment from being SDR to
Well, so I've been here now 2 years in total, so just over a year, say 18 months as a manager. The transition is still ongoing. So a thing that I firmly believe in is you can never hit your ceiling. So you can never learn enough. So again, often have weekly catch-ups with Waj, who's obviously our sales director. Often have catch-ups with the director. He's often giving me feedback of coaching, what I can take and what I can implement. Transitioning at first, is a lot to learn, because of course when you're a salesperson, it is a bit of a selfish role. You're shown your tools, obviously coached and trained what to do, but then once you're at your desk, it's about you making it happen, right? So obviously from a sales role to then now managing people to show them what that looks like, it's very different. You're managing people's personalities, you're managing their, work-life balance, home and work-life balance. So yeah, there's a lot of different types of challenges, but yeah, I think my thing is always being open.
If you're transitioning from another career into sales, as a manager yourself, what would you be looking for? So
if I was to be interviewing, you mean?
Yeah.
Understand, what you've done so far. Have you, of course, all of you guys have been investing in yourself, so that's a plus straight away. Understanding why you're looking at sales, essentially, what's motivating you, what's your why behind that. So that's I think what's most powerful for us when we're looking at interviews.
I'd ask, what would you tell yourself when you're where you're in now? What would you tell yourself as a brand new SDR? What would you tell yourself 5-10 years ago?
I should have started 5-10 years prior to that. What would I have told myself? Look, I think I say it to my team all the time. What you guys have now available to yourself, I didn't once have. You've got AI, you've got LinkedIn, you've got all of these new tools which have come about. Learn them as quick as you can. Get quite competent with those as quick as possible. Back when I was an SDR, I'm saying it like I'm ancient years old, but you're talking maybe 5-6 years back, we was typing out our own emails. We didn't have, we had spell checker, but we didn't have AI to quickly make that look more professional. So yeah, I'll definitely say look at tools that can help advance you. Speak to other people that have done the role. I think again, LinkedIn is huge. A lot of people give out advice, but tailor it to yourself. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I've seen from a lot of people coming into the role, each person's knowledge is all well and good to have an overview, but then understanding the role you're going into, how you tailor your approach in the actual role.
And what's your approach like in terms of the sales? Like, because I know some people have emails or some people it's cold calling. So, what are you like? What would you say your strongest aspect is?
My strongest is being persistent. I would say never, don't ever leave any stone unturned. So if I was to make look, I'm a firm believer of your phone's your best friend in the sales role, in the SDR role. Make the call first, and if you're not getting them on the phone, it's then looking at sending an email or looking at maybe dropping a message through LinkedIn. I think use every tool possible, but be very straight up. So again, when I was cold calling, a lot of the times I'm calling businesses that don't have services with us. You can have all of these fancy pitches, but what I thought is, if I was to put myself in their shoes and I was receiving a call, what would I want to receive as a phone call, as a cold call? And if someone rang me honestly and said, "Look, never spoken to you before, but I'm calling from X, Y, Z, and it's about X, Y, and Z. Is that something you may be interested in?" Do that enough times, I'm sure you'll find a way through.
And you said you worked in the start. What was that like?
So that was,
here?
of course, here, BT is a brand. Straight away, you're already halfway through the door. If I was to say to anyone here, have you heard of BT? I'm pretty sure everyone in here would say yes. Whereas with a tech company, a startup company especially, you might have to do like a permission-based opener. You might have to give them a bit more of an explanation of where you're calling from. So it's a lot different. Whereas with us here, the beauty is you kind of bypass a bit of that and you go straight into, what is your value proposition? What are you calling for?
Got another thing kind of to do with like the transition that you were saying. You were saying before you used to work in like retail.
Yep.
I was at EE as well. So I
Okay.
just wanted to know like what was the main differences that you saw from working there as opposed to SDR.
Well, in store, so there's a bit of background. I was working part-time in EE and I was achieving full-timers numbers.
Yeah.
So a lot of people used to be like, how are you doing it? And I used to ask them, how are you not doing it? Because essentially people walking through the door.
Yeah.
All you have to do is most times greet them. Hi, how can I help you? What is it you're looking for? What's brought you to store today? Be very open with them. The difference with us is we're going to them. So we're outbound calling, we're hunting, we're trying to find the business. So, it's a lot different on the phone than in face-to-face because over the phone, they don't know you, they can't see you. Essentially, when you make a phone call, they're trying to paint a picture of who it is that they're speaking to. Whereas face-to-face, someone walks in, you greet them with a smile. If you see they're not interested, you see that you can read their body language. Whereas over the phone, you can only hit their tonality and things like that. So you have to be a bit more savvy in how you judge the call. There's a lot more, I'm sure, which Jack is teaching guys on mirror matching and things like that to help build your rapport.
I'm sure you've seen like people who haven't lasted in the role or don't hit their full potential. Are there any like commonalities in their characteristics or things they do that we should do or adopt coming into?
Look, I've not seen anyone come here that's worked hard and not been successful. So just remembering the fundamentals of what it takes to be successful is hard work and being persistent. So you can often see people who are not going to be successful because they might come in and maybe they've got more of a approach where they feel like they're in school and they see it more as rather than work hard, they're playing more hard. So you've got to make sure you have a healthy balance. But yeah, as long as you're serious and you apply yourself, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to be successful.
Cool. Any other questions, guys? Cool. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you.